now bring to you the Ashad Dharma talk by eminent Buddhist masters and scholars from various countries. The talk will be presented by Mr. Kabir Saxena.
Most Venerable Arayawangso is an esteemed master of Vipassana, Arinavasi. At present, he is the abbot of the Vatpa Buddhapojhari Punchai Dhamma Yukti Nikaya under the royal patronage in Lampum in Thailand. He is also the chair of the Sangha of the 7 monasteries under his supervision, including Arayawangso Bangsai Forest Monastery, Ayudha, Yanna Sampanno, Ariyaramma Forest Monastery in Chiang Rai, Suan Dhamma, Khoa Khumam, Ramakorn, a meditation site in Nakhon Si Thamarat, Thesrangi Meditation House, Phua Ratanakirti in Phuket, Arya Dhamma Meditation Site in Nakhon Pathom, and Isan Dhamma Arayawangso in Nakhon Ratchasima. In honor of his devotion and steadfast contribution to the spread of knowledge and practice in Dhamma, he was conferred the honorary title Phra Dhamma Pratipatti Vyaptidhara, the Nayak Thero of Sri Lankan Siam Uplavongse, Sri Lanka, and an honorary doctorate of Indian Studies from Thammasat University, Thailand. He has been invited as the guest speaker in many renowned institutions and written more than 500 articles and published 50 Dhamma books. Most Venerable Arayawangso is also working towards the promotion and understanding of Buddhism, Hinduism, and other religions, along with strengthening relationships with the Mahayana in China and conservation of Buddhist World Heritage Sites in Pakistan.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagavata samma sambuddho vichacharana sampanno sukhato lokavido Anuttara Buddhisa Dhammasarati Sattha Theva Manusanang Buddho Bhagavati Ti. I pay homage Lord Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Asalha Puja, full moon day of the 8th lunar month, is a highly significant day in Buddhism, displaying the true existence of Dhamma power or Dhammacakka. Cakka means power. Dhamma is the normal reality of nature that Lord Buddha was enlightened by himself on Visakha Puja day at the age of 35. 2 months later, as Isipatana Deer Park near Varanasi, he proclaimed his self-enlightened Dhamma for the first time to the Panchavakkiya. We call the first Dhamma sermon as Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, or the discourse on the turning of the Dhamma wheel, meaning that Dhamma power has been set in motion, appearing to the whole world. The word Dhammacakka indicates the characteristic of Buddhist teaching. It can be compared to the Dhamma royal chariot driven by Lord Buddha himself to take on sentient beings from the cycle of rebirth. To move toward the destination, one key component that the royal Dhamma chariot must have is the wheel or chakka consisting of 3 parts: the hub, the support, the rim. Bodhipakkhya Dhamma represents the hub or the center of the wheel. Patisubhat Dhamma refers to the supports of the wheel, and Adhisacca is the rim. The wheel of Dhamma moves around by Dhamma power opposite from how the world turns to take us out of the control of the world that has no substance at all. There is only suffering, disease, and harm. at the wheel of the world, go around in the never-ending cycle of rebirth, filled with the arising and passing away within the lifetime of every Buddha. The wheel is set motion only once to boldly proclaim the Dhamma principle to the entire world, to spread far and wide among humans, Deva, Maharaj, and Brahmas. It is declaration that Arisajja Dhamma, the Four Noble Truths, can develop the mind of all beings who are fully prepared with merits and perfections. They can realize the Dhamma, be released from suffering and truly attain Nibbana by themselves. Proclaiming Dhamma power is not only the declaration of the Noble Truth, it is also an endorsement of human beings' status, that they can develop their potentials by relying on themselves, relying on Dhamma. Relying on oneself, relying on Dhamma is thus the heart of Buddhist study and practice. It flows against the belief that are contrary to the natural power of Dhamma, especially the dependent on magical power that leads to the dominance of materialism or theism, and the neglect or relying on oneself and on Dhamma. Lord Buddha described the path of Majjhima or Patipatha that is proper by Dhamma, or the pattern of practice that should be followed. Both the proper and improper path were expounded. To know which Dhamma should be invited firstly and practiced to attain Dhamma power toward real extinction of suffering. Two major worldly paths are: first, conduct of normal householder seeking happiness from sensual pleasures, reveling in suffering, and lead useless life. Second, conduct of people who live household life after seeing harm in sensual desires, enjoy the ascetic life, practice self-mortification, and lead useless life. Both of these worldly paths will not take people out of suffering and are of no benefit at all. Then Lord Buddha expounded the middle path, Majjhima Patipatha. This path is useful, can lead beings out of suffering, danger, and harm towards Nibbana, as the Buddha himself had practiced effectively. This practice principle causes virtue and knowledge to arise. Be of calmness for higher knowledge, for wisdom, to extinguish craving and get away from defilements. It is the true path for noble ones. In brief, the middle path consists of 8 Dhamma: Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappo, Samma Vaca, Samma Kammanto, Samma Achivo, Samma Vayamo, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi. He expounded the truth in nature, collected into Dhamma principle of noble truth called Ariya Satya, Dukkha Satya, Nirodha Satya, Dukkha Satya, Samudaya Satya, Nirodha Satya, and Magga Satya. The truth of Dukkha, Samudaya, and Nirodha can be contemplated from cause and result, from the truth in nature. It is not difficult to understand that on things arise and pass away naturally. Such arising and passing away are natural phenomena. But what is hard to comprehend is what caused it to arise, what caused it to pass away. To understand such truth requires mindfulness and wisdom occurring in that mind moment. In other words, we must cultivate our mind contemplating the object in our life, which can be grouped into Kaya, Vedana, Citta, and Dhamma. Learning about Kaya, Vedana, Citta, and Dhamma to access the truth that is the real substance of life will make us understand directly to the truth about what is life, what caused life to happen, and how to make it extinct so there is no more becoming. Life is suffering, with the characteristics of arising and passing away, demonstrating the truth that a life is impermanent, is under the rule of three characteristics of existence. Life is suffering because it is impermanent, always changing according to causes and conditions, with no self of substance at all. Studying the truth known as the four Arya Satya is to penetrate inside the body that is ruled by the mind. To attain the truth that the intimate of life is suffering, to know the intimate of suffering is to realize Dhamma. Dhamma is the natural truth that did life on mental formation or this world. It's just like that. It will not vary from that, and it will not become anything else. With this and this as condition, this and this arises. The Dhamma essence of the four Arya Satya first appeared to the world proclaimed by Lord Buddha. We vowed that such noble truth was enlightened by himself. No one has ever expounded or speak such words before. Whether they are Deva, Mara, Brahma, Samana, and Brahmins, his self-enlightenment was symbolized as arising from knowledge and vision in Arya Satya, with the purified three aspects and 12 ways. He affirmed that he was supremely self-enlightened. His defilement will not arise again. The light is his light. There will be no more birth. The first sermon of Asalha Puja Day gave rise to the first member of the Sangha, Anya Kodaya. After his mind was developed along Dhamma, and he realized the truth by right wisdom that Yam kinchi samuyat dhammang sapatang nirotha dhammanti, whatever naturally arises will also become extinct naturally. With the power of Dhamma, the world was illuminated once again, perfected with the virtue of the triple gem. The discourse of the will of Dhamma was proclaimed only once in the era of the Buddha. For the rest of his 45 years of teaching and propagating the Dhamma Vinaya, the Buddha did not expound the sutta directly again. His Dhamma discourse was an elaboration of each individual subject from the first sermon. After studying Dhamma, teaching from Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, what is most important is seeing the path that can truly take us through all kinds of crises by relying on oneself and relying on Dhamma. Such a path is displayed with causes and conditions. For example, When we suffer from COVID-19, we can tell the cause from its result. It is applying the analytical consideration of Arya Satya, guiding us to investigate its origin, to eradicate its cause, or if the result is good, we can know the cause which will encourage further practice. Consideration of cause and result that leads to understanding the law of karma and Dhamma power existing in the nature called the natural law. This is the highest level of Buddhist study, leading to understanding of Arya Satya to be practiced to extinguish suffering, disease and harm, to completely get out of the rounds of rebirth. This can proceed along the Noble Eightfold Path, which is said to be the universal Dhamma medicine that can heal not just COVID-19 but all kinds of sickness. On this occasion of Asalha Puja 2564 Buddhist Era, I hope Buddhists or mankind around the world will wake up to manage your life by Dhamma principle, not be restricted to the usual worldly methods. To all Buddhists, I offer this advice. When faced with suffering and problem, solve them by Arya Satya. You will find success and will not be deluded by the worldly way and waste your precious time. By solving problems along the principle of cause and effect, you will not be frightened by news spreading through social media, unable to spread real and fake news. Most significant Buddhists must have confidence in the Dhamma truth that all problems can be extinguished by wisdom. This is done by mind development, building up knowledge, building up wisdom, insight, and the light of Dhamma leading toward the extinction of all problems. I humbly invite the power of Dhamma proceeds by our Lord Buddha more than 2,600 years ago. May Dhamma power from paying homage to the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta shine its light to the mind of all Buddhists of mankind in the world, to have knowledge, to have wisdom, leading to the true extinction of COVID-19 pandemic crisis with the power of Dhamma. This can only be realized when Buddhists around the world are united in harmony with the same saddha, viriya, sati, samadhi, and panna. As an homage to the Dhammacakka, the five Dhamma power will appear to illuminate the whole world for all beings to be truly delivered from suffering. Should now compose themselves, set their mind to pay respect to the Dhammacakka in perfect harmony. เอวัมเมสุตังเอกังสัมมยังภคะวะปรณสียังวิหารติอิสิปตานิมิกัดดายเยตระโคภควะปัญจวัคคีเยภิกขุอมันเตสิดาเวเมภิกขเวอันตาบัพชิเตนะนะเสวิตัพ บายโยจายังกัมมิสุกัมมสุขัลลิกานุโยโคหิโนคัมโมปุตุชนิโกอนัตติโยอนัตตสันหิโตโยจายังอัตตกิลมัฏฐานุโยโคดุโคอนัตติโยอนัตตสันหิโตเอเตเตภิกขเวอุปอันเตอนุปคัมมะมาชิมาปฏิปทาตถาคเตนะอภิสัมพุทธาจักขุการณียนาการณีอุปสมัยอภิญญายสัมโพธายนิบานายสังวัตติกัตตมาจัสสาภิกขเวมาชิมาปฏิปทาตถาคเตนะอภิสัมพุทธาจักขุการณียนาการณีอุปสมัยอภิญญายสัมโพธายนิบานายสังวัตติอายะเมวะอริโยอัตถังคิโกมัคโคไสยาทีดังสัมมาทิฏฐิสัมมาสังกัปโปสัมมาวาจาสัมมากัมมันโตสัมมาอาชีโวสัมมาวายาโมสัมมาสมาธิ Blessing all of you.
At the beginning of the most Venerable Arayawangso's talk, he gave a beautiful analogy of a wheel. He said the 7 factors of enlightenment were like the hub. Dependent origination, patitta samutpada, is like the spokes of the wheel. And the 4 noble truths are like the rim of the wheel. He spoke about how we need to rely on oneself and on the Dharma, and not on materialism or a theistic approach. He said the middle path was the way to achieve this, and for that we needed mindfulness and understanding based on wisdom. To do this, we need to investigate the kaya, the body, vedana, the feelings, chitta, the mind, and dhamma, phenomena in general. We need to investigate these through mindfulness and wisdom in order to arrive at the truth. That is the real substance of life. The real meaning of life is to do this. In this way, we can, he said, become supremely self-enlightened, and with this enlightenment, defilements will never be able to arise again. We can solve all our problems with these noble truths, these Arya Satyas, he said, and the wisdom that derives from them. This would give us the true freedom from fear. At the end of his wonderful talk, the most Venerable chanted blessings for all concerned.